The metal clanged against metal in the pre-dawn darkness. My breath came out in white clouds as I watched the crew load the truck. Crates of rations, fuel drums, radio equipment, everything stacked neat and tight, the way the Army taught us. Frost covered every surface like a second skin. The compound was empty except for us, silent, cold enough to make your teeth ache. I could taste diesel fumes mixing with frozen air, sharp and bitter on my tongue. Or maybe that was just fear. Corporal Danny Foster stood by the engine, muttering something about the truck's age. He'd been complaining about it for weeks, said it wouldn't make another winter. Private Marcus Webb stood a few feet away, scanning the perimeter fence. Again. His eyes kept going back to the mountains in the distance, dark shapes against a darker sky. Or were they shapes? I blinked, looked again. Just mountains, just darkness. "It's just a supply run, not a combat mission," Private Tom Hayes said. He was grinning, always grinning. Webb didn't respond, just kept staring, just kept staring. I signed off on the manifest. February 12, 1976. The paper crinkled in the cold. The pen barely worked. 40 miles northwest to Zebra 7. Same route the Soviets probably watched from their satellites. That's when I smelled it. Tobacco smoke. Old and sweet. Hand-rolled. The kind my grandfather used to smoke. But my grandfather was dead. Paul approached. He was older, native Alaskan, worked maintenance on base. Never said much, but now he was walking straight toward me, his face blank as stone, weathered like old leather. Had he always looked that old? I couldn't remember. He tapped my clipboard. His finger landed on the route map, the northwestern sector, circled in red. "In your Lagaric territory," he said. His voice was flat, dead. "They don't forget." The words hung in the air, visible, real. They don't forget. I opened my mouth to ask what he meant. He was already walking away. His boots crunched on the frozen ground, each step deliberate, final. Then he was gone. Or had he been there at all? "Local superstition," Hayes said. He laughed it off, but the laugh sounded forced, hollow. Foster's jaw tightened. His hand gripped the wrench harder, white knuckles. He'd heard things before, stories from the village elders, stories he wouldn't repeat. Webb finally spoke. His voice came out quiet, shaky. "Last week, during perimeter patrol, I saw something." He paused, swallowed hard. Beyond the fence, small figures, moving in patterns, like they were coordinated. Small figures, moving in patterns. Hayes rolled his eyes. Wildlife, or heat shimmer. But I noticed Webb's hands. They were shaking as he climbed into the truck. Not from the cold. I knew what cold looked like. This was something else. I didn't say anything. What was there to say? We had a job to do. Keep the early warning stations running. Watch for Soviet bombers. Pretend we weren't 250 miles from Fairbanks in the middle of nowhere. The engine started with a growl. We rolled out at 6 a.m. They don't forget. The headlights cut through fog so thick it looked solid. The access road disappeared behind us. 40 miles ahead, no settlements, no other vehicles, just wilderness. Just wilderness. The radio crackled, base communications fading, static, then nothing. 10 minutes out, and we were alone. Or were we? I rode shotgun. Foster drove, his hands steady on the wheel, but his eyes kept flicking to the mirrors. Quick glances, over and over, checking something, or checking for something. In the back, Hayes slept against the supply crates. Webb sat across from him, staring out the rear window. His breath fogged the glass in perfect rhythm, too perfect. The landscape rolled past, endless snow, trees like black skeletons. Mountains in the distance looked like broken teeth. I'd driven this route a dozen times since '74. It had never looked like this before. Had it? I reviewed the station's last status report, 3 weeks old. Routine operational note. No problems, no anomalies. Everything normal. The paper smelled like dust and old ink, but underneath, something sweet. Rotten. I couldn't place it. 20 miles in, Webb sat forward. Stop. Foster hit the brakes. The truck slid before catching. My heart hammered. What? I said. Webb pointed out the window. Footprints in the snow, running parallel to the road. Small, child-sized. But the stride length was wrong, too long. The spacing didn't make sense. Each print was deep, deliberate, moving in patterns. Foster slowed the truck. We all looked. I held my breath, tasted copper. The prints appeared and disappeared in the snowdrifts, like whatever made them was following the road, following us. Then they turned sharp, vanished into the tree line. No one spoke. Had we really seen them? I looked at Foster, at Webb. Their faces said yes, but faces can lie. Hayes woke up. What's wrong? Nothing, I said. My voice sounded far away, not mine. Go back to sleep. But I kept watching the side mirror, kept seeing movement, blurs in the trees, always at the edge of vision, always keeping pace. Small figures, moving in patterns, then falling behind, then gone. They don't forget. The station appeared at 8:30 a.m. A cluster of prefabricated buildings, chain link fence, radar tower rising against the gray sky, generator shed, communications array. Everything looked normal from a distance. Everything looked normal. Then Foster noticed the gate. It's open, he said. His voice was tight. He was right. The outer gate hung open, swinging slightly in the wind. Metal creaking, a sound I'd heard before. In dreams, in nightmares. Regulations required it locked at all times. Always. No exceptions. So why was it open? I tried the radio. Zebra 7, this is Supply Convoy Delta. Approaching your position. Respond. Static. White noise. Then something underneath. A rhythm. In and out. Like breathing. Like lungs filling and emptying. Like something was listening. I tried again. Same result. The breathing got louder. Proceed through the gate, I said. The truck rolled forward, tires crunching on gravel and packed snow. The sound was too loud. Everything else was too quiet. No wind, no birds, nothing. Just the crunch, 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 like teeth on bone. No personnel visible, no movement in the windows. But the lights were on, every building. Yellow squares glowing. The generator hummed steady. Someone had to be here. Someone had to be. Foster parked near the supply depot, cut the engine. The silence hit like a fist. Then I heard it, a metallic clanging. Somewhere distant, irregular, the same sound from the gate. Or was it? I couldn't tell anymore. We dismounted. The cold bit deeper here, sharper. It smelled wrong, like old snow that's been sitting too long, like frozen earth, and something else, sweet and rotten. Meat left out, spoiled milk. My stomach turned. I tasted bile. Webb noticed it first. Look, footprints in the snow, small, child-sized, circling the entire fence line, around every building, forming patterns, geometric shapes, triangles, spirals, symbols that didn't mean anything but felt deliberate, ancient, wrong, moving in patterns. The tracks were fresh, made within hours, maybe minutes, but no one was here. Hayes saw them too. His grin died. His face went pale. The color drained right out. What the hell? I approached the main operations building. Each step felt heavy. Wrong. The door was unlocked, slightly ajar. Through the gap I could see inside. Lights on. A coffee mug sat on the desk. Steam rising from it. Still hot. Fresh. A radio played softly. Some old song. I knew that song. My mother used to sing it, but my mother was dead. But there was no one inside. No one at all. The air coming through the door smelled wrong. Like old snow. Like frozen earth. And something else I couldn't name. Something that made my hands shake. Made my vision blur. I pushed the door open wider. It creaked. The sound echoed. Lasted too long. And somewhere in the distance, something small laughed. A child's laugh. High and clear. They don't forget. We entered the operations room cautiously, weapons ready, but there was nothing to shoot at. Everything was operational, running, but abandoned. The computers hummed, screens glowing blue, heaters on full blast. The room was warm, almost too warm. I could feel sweat forming under my gear despite the cold outside. The air tasted stale, recycled, like breathing the same breath over and over. Coffee sat in multiple mugs, 3, 4, 5. I counted them, steam rising from each one, still hot, fresh. Someone had just been here. Someone had just been here. I checked the duty roster on the wall. Last entry dated today, 0600 hours, 2.5 hours ago. Handwriting neat and precise. Regulation standard. Foster examined the radio equipment. His hands moved quick, checking connections, testing frequencies. Power's on. Frequency set correctly. He frowned, tapped the transmission log, but no outgoing messages for 72 hours. They're supposed to check in daily. So they stopped reporting 3 days ago, I said. Or someone wants us to think that. Webb found breakfast on the table, half-eaten, fork still resting on the plate. Eggs congealed but not cold, toast with one bite missing. The smell hit me. Bacon grease, coffee, normal breakfast smells. But underneath, something else, something sweet and wrong. I touched the coffee mug nearest me, hot. My finger jerked back. I looked at Foster. How long does coffee stay hot? 15 minutes, maybe 20 in this heat. They were here 15 minutes ago. They were here 15 minutes ago. But where did they go? Hayes searched the sleeping quarters. I heard him opening lockers, checking bunks. He came back, shaking his head. Bunks made perfect, military corners. Personal items untouched. But all the winter gear is gone. Parkas, gloves, boots, everything. So they left prepared, Foster said. But no vehicles are missing, I said. We saw the motor pool. Everything's here. Webb's voice came from the back room. Quiet. Strained. Sergeant, you need to see this. I found him standing over a desk. Station log open. His face was pale. The final entry, written in hurried scrawl. Letters slanting wrong, not like the neat writing from the duty roster. Perimeter movement confirmed. Tracks match previous reports. Do not engage. Do not follow. No signature. No date. Just those words. Do not follow. I read it again. The handwriting looked familiar, like I'd seen it before, but I couldn't place it. My memory felt fuzzy, unclear. Previous reports? Foster said. What previous reports? I flipped back through the log. Pages and pages of routine entries. Nothing about perimeter movement, nothing about tracks, just standard operational notes until this final entry. Like someone had torn out pages, or like those pages never existed. "We should search the other buildings," Hayes said. His voice was too loud, too eager, like he wanted to get out of this room. I wanted to get out too, but something kept me there, staring at those words. "Do not follow." The supply depot was worse. Last month's delivery sat untouched, still sealed in crates, shrink wrap intact, shipping labels dated 4 weeks ago. Our delivery, the one before this one. Foster pried open a crate, rations inside, undisturbed. "We've been delivering to an abandoned station," he said. His voice was flat, dead, for weeks. "Or someone kept the lights on," I said. "Made it look occupied." Why? I didn't have an answer. Didn't want to think about answers. Hayes tried to start the truck, turned the key. Nothing. Not even a click. He tried again. Again. Nothing. Foster checked the battery, pulled cables, tested connections. "It's drained. Completely dead." "That's impossible. It was running 20 minutes ago." "I know, but the battery read 0. No charge. Like something had sucked it dry. Like something had drunk it." I tasted metal. Copper. My mouth was dry. I swallowed, but it didn't help. Webb walked the perimeter fence, following the footprints, those small prints that circled everything. I watched him trace the patterns with his eyes, his lips moving, counting, calculating. He called us over. The patterns formed symbols around each building, deliberate geometric shapes, each one different but connected, like a language, like instructions. "They're fresh," Webb said, "made this morning. But no one's here," Hayes said. "No one we can see." The prints seemed to tighten as I looked at them, spiraling inward, getting closer to the buildings, closer to us. Or was that just my imagination? The radio crackled. We all jumped. My voice came through, clear and sharp. "Zebra 7, this is Supply Convoy Delta. ETA 40 minutes. Then Foster's voice. "Something's wrong with the gate." I stared at the radio. That conversation hadn't happened yet. We hadn't said those words yet, but the timestamp showed 24 hours old. 24 hours old. "That's impossible," Foster whispered. But we'd all heard it. We'd all heard ourselves from yesterday, saying things we were going to say today, or had we already said them? Time felt wrong here, slippery, like trying to hold water. We regrouped at the truck, standing in a circle, not looking at each other, looking at the mountains, at the fence, at the footprints that seemed to watch us back. "We hike out," Hayes said. His voice was too loud, desperate. 40 miles. We can make it before dark." "That's 8 hours minimum," Foster said. "In this cold, through wilderness. Better than staying here." "Is it?" I checked my watch. 10:30 a.m. 8 hours of daylight left, maybe less. The sky looked wrong, too dark, clouds moving too fast. I tried the radio, standard frequency. "Base, this is Supply Convoy Delta. Emergency situation. Requesting immediate support." Static, then whispers. Children's voices, singing something in a language I didn't know, but somehow understood. "They don't forget." Webb pointed at the tree line. "They're watching us." I looked, saw nothing at first. Then my eyes adjusted. Blurred figures, small, humanoid shapes, standing motionless at the forest edge. A dozen, maybe more. When I looked directly at them, they faded, but in my peripheral vision, they were clear. Too clear. "We vote," I said. "Stay or go." "We stay tonight," Foster said. "Leave at first light. Give ourselves full daylight for the hike." "Agreed," Webb said quietly. Hayes looked like he wanted to argue, but he nodded. "We secure the station. Inventory supplies. Set watch rotation. We move toward the operations building." That's when I noticed our shadows on the snow. Foster's shadow was missing its left arm. Webb's shadow faced the wrong direction. Mine had too many fingers. I blinked, looked again. Normal shadows, normal shapes. Or were they? "Do not follow." We boarded the windows, checked every lock, set up defensive positions, though we didn't know what we were defending against. What were we defending against? Foster worked on the radio, trying different frequencies, military channels, emergency bands, civilian frequencies, everything. Static on all of them, but underneath the static, breathing, always breathing, in and out, in and out. I helped Webb search the building, looking for anything useful, anything that explained what happened here. He found personal logs scattered throughout, notebooks, loose papers, diary entries, previous crew members, names I didn't recognize but somehow felt familiar. The entries described visitors, small visitors approaching fence at night, singing in old dialect, leaving offerings, arranged stones, animal bones. Webb read aloud, his voice shaking. "They want us to follow. They've been hurting us for days. The patterns mean something. We can't leave. Every path circles back. Every path circles back." Hayes found the station commander's journal, hidden in a desk drawer, under false bottom, like someone didn't want it found, or wanted it found by the right person. The final entries were increasingly paranoid, words scratched deep into paper, some crossed out, some circled over and over. "They want us to follow. We can't leave. Every path circles back. The patterns mean something. They know, they know, they know." I read over Hayes's shoulder. The smell of old paper and ink filled my nose, and something else, tobacco, sweet and old, like Paul's tobacco. But Paul was back at base, miles away, wasn't he? "How many crew were stationed here?" I asked. Hayes checked the official records. 6 personnel. Webb counted the bunks. 5 used. Foster found the personal logs. 5 names, all different. No 6th person mentioned. So where was the 6th person? Had there ever been a 6th person? Or were the records wrong? The records are never wrong, but bunks don't lie. I felt my head start to hurt, a pressure behind my eyes, like something pushing, trying to get in. I tasted copper again, blood, but my mouth wasn't bleeding, was it? The coffee on the desk was still steaming. Still steaming. "That's impossible," I said. "We've been here for hours." Foster checked his watch, frowned. "It's only been 40 minutes, but it felt like hours, days, weeks. Time was wrong here. Everything was wrong here." Darkness fell at 6 p.m. Fast, like someone pulled a curtain. The temperature dropped. My breath came out in thick clouds. The generator hummed louder, angrier. The sound vibrated through the floor, through my bones. Hayes took first watch, positioned at the window, rifle ready. I tried to sleep, couldn't, just lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to the buildings settle, creak, groan. Or was it settling? "Movement," Hayes whispered. We all got up, moved to the windows, looked out. The blurred figures were back, closer now, inside the perimeter fence, circling the building, moving in synchronized patterns, like a dance, like a ritual. I counted them. Lost count. Started again. Lost count again. Too many. Or not enough. The numbers kept changing. Foster tried the radio. "Base, this is Supply Convoy Delta. Do you copy?" A voice came through. Base command. Clear and strong. "Supply Convoy Delta, report your status." Foster's face lit up. "Sir, we're at Station Zebra 7. The facility is abandoned. Requesting immediate extraction." Silence. Then the voice again, but different, colder. "We have no record of Supply Convoy Delta. Please identify yourself." Foster looked at me, his face pale. "This is Corporal Daniel Foster. Service number, we have no record of Station Zebra 7. Please confirm your location." The radio went dead. We heard our own voices playing back. Distorted. Wrong. "We're not leaving. They won't let us." But we hadn't said that. I hadn't said that. Had I? Webb woke up screaming, thrashing. We grabbed him, held him down. "I was walking," he gasped, "following footprints. They led back here, to the station. But I was watching myself arrive from outside, like I was already here, like I've always been here." He stared at me, his eyes too wide. "We've been here before, haven't we? This isn't the first time?" "No," I said, but my voice sounded uncertain. "This is our first supply run to this station." "Are you sure?" I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember. My memory felt like fog, thick and impenetrable. Outside, children sang. High voices, beautiful and terrible. The melody was hypnotic. Wrong. It made my teeth ache, made my stomach turn. I tasted bile, sour and sharp. Small figures pressed against the windows. Handprints appeared on the glass. From outside, child-sized, but too many fingers. 6 fingers, 7, 8. I counted them. Lost count. Started again. They don't forget. Foster's watch. 2 a.m. I was awake. Couldn't sleep. The singing was too loud, too close. "Movement in the compound," Foster whispered. We looked, small figures walking toward the generator shed. Deliberate, purposeful. They opened the door, disappeared inside. The generator cut. Complete darkness. Complete silence. The singing stopped. Emergency lights flickered on. Dimension. Red. Everything looked wrong in red light. Like blood. Like we were inside something living. The figure stood directly outside, faces pressed to windows, but I couldn't see their features. Blurred, distorted, like looking through water, like looking through tears. Were they crying, or was I? Whispers penetrated the walls. Children's voices, speaking English, speaking other languages, speaking all at once. "You followed the path. You came when called. Now you stay. Now you stay. Now you stay." Webb was translating, his lips moving, eyes closed. "You followed the path. You came when called. Now you stay." The lights returned, sudden and bright. I blinked, looked around. The figures were gone. No footprints in the snow where they'd stood. Nothing. But new patterns appeared on the inside of the windows, drawn in frost. Geometric symbols. The same patterns from outside, but we hadn't drawn them. We couldn't have drawn them. Hayes checked his hands, frost on his fingers, ice crystals. Did I? he started. No, I said. But I wasn't sure. Wasn't sure of anything anymore. The coffee on the desk was still steaming. Still steaming. How long had we been here? Hours? Days? Time felt like water slipping through my fingers. Do not follow. But we'd already followed, hadn't we? 6 a.m. Light came back, gray and weak. None of us had really slept. We'd tried, closed our eyes, but the singing never stopped. Just got quieter, softer, more insistent, like a lullaby, like a warning. My body ached, every muscle tight. I tasted stale coffee and fear. The air in the operations room smelled like sweat and old electronics and something else. Something sweet that made my stomach turn. Reeves found it while searching the commander's desk. A hidden compartment, false bottom, the kind you only find if you're looking for it, or if you already know it's there. Had I known it was there? Inside was a logbook, black cover, worn edges, marked eyes only, incident documentation in faded red letters, the kind of classification that shouldn't exist at a radar station, the kind that meant secrets. I opened it. The pages crackled. Old paper. The smell hit me first. Dust, mildew, and that sweet smell again, stronger now, like rotting flowers, like something dead trying to smell alive. The entries went back 6 months, multiple supply crews, each one different, but the stories were the same, identical. Supply convoy Baker arrived 1400 hours, found station abandoned, all systems operational, coffee still warm. My hands started shaking. I kept reading. Blurred figures observed at perimeter, small humanoid shapes, coordinated movements, radio anomalies, voices in static. I flipped forward, another entry, different crew. Attempted departure at dawn, circled back to station after 4 hours. GPS readings inconsistent, compass unreliable, footprints in snow, child-sized, wrong stride length. My vision blurred, the words swam, but I kept reading, had to keep reading. Another entry, another crew. Food supplies vanishing despite locked storage. Personal items moved. Shadows behaving independently, time distortions noted, minutes passing as hours, hours passing as minutes. I could hear my heartbeat, loud, too loud, like drums, like the singing outside. Foster read over my shoulder. His breathing was rapid, shallow. Every crew, same pattern. They're not random, Webb said. His voice was hollow, dead. They're following a script, the same script we're following. The final entries were desperate, handwriting deteriorating, words scratched deep. They're not hunting us, they're testing us. Each crew follows the same pattern because that's what they want. We're choosing the path they laid out. Then, dated 2 months ago, the only crew that escaped. The entry ended, mid-sentence. Pages torn out, rough edges where paper had been ripped away, deliberately removed, or never written at all. I touched the torn edges. They felt fresh, recent, but the date said 2 months. How could that be? Someone doesn't want us to know how they escaped, Hayes said. Or they didn't escape, Foster said quietly. I turned to the last page, one final entry. No date, just words scrawled in handwriting I recognized. My handwriting. We've been here before. We keep coming back. Every path circles back. They don't forget. We can't leave. We've never left. I stared at those words, at my handwriting, but I hadn't written them. Had I? That's impossible, I said. My voice sounded far away. This is our first time here, but even as I said it, I wasn't sure. My memory felt fuzzy, incomplete, like trying to remember a dream. Had we been here before? The coffee on the desk was still steaming. Still steaming. How long had we been here? We made the decision fast. Unanimous. We couldn't stay. Couldn't wait for rescue that might never come. The logbook made it clear. Waiting meant becoming another entry. Another crew that never left. I plotted a new route, using compass, avoiding any existing trails or paths, anything that looked traveled, anything expected. Southeast through virgin wilderness, direct line to base. We make our own path, I said. Don't follow anything. Don't respond to anything. Foster rigged an emergency power pack for the radio, portable communication kit. His hands moved quick but steady. Military training, muscle memory. If we can maintain contact with base, they can track us, send rescue. If we can maintain contact, if they're listening, if they remember we exist. Hayes packed supplies, minimal load, food, water, cold weather gear, flares, ammunition. He moved methodically, checking each item twice, but his hands shook. I could see the tremor, feel it in the air. We all felt it. Webb studied the patterns, inside and outside, sketching them in his notebook. His pencil scratched across paper, a sound that made my teeth ache. They match constellations, he said. His voice was soft, distant, like he was speaking from far away. Northern sky. The patterns are astronomical markers. Territorial boundaries? Foster asked. Or ritual significance? Webb looked up. His eyes were too wide, too bright. Or both. Or neither. I don't know. I can't tell anymore. I tasted copper. My mouth was dry. I swallowed, but it didn't help. As we prepared to leave, Hayes made a discovery. Our winter gear from the truck. The gear we'd left in the truck bed. It was inside now, neatly arranged in the sleeping quarters. Folded perfect. Military corners. Did anyone bring this inside? Hayes asked. We all shook our heads. The doors had been locked all night. We'd checked them again and again. No one had gone outside. No one had come in. But the gear was here. Someone had been inside with us, moving our things, arranging them, while we watched the windows, while we watched each other, while we slept. Or had we brought them in and forgotten? My memory felt like water, slipping away. The smell hit me then, sweet and rotten, stronger than before, coming from the gear. I picked up my parka, held it close. Small handprints on the fabric, child-sized, pressed into the material from the inside, like tiny fingers pushing through, reaching out. I dropped it, fast, my heart hammering. But when I looked again, the prints were gone. Were they ever there? Do not follow. But we had to leave, had to try, even if every path circles back. 9 a.m. We left through the front door, weapons ready, packs secured, moving southeast through untouched snow. The sun was up, but provided no warmth, just gray light, cold light. Everything looked washed out, colorless. After 2 hours, Hayes stopped. I recognized that rock. We all looked. A large boulder, distinctive shape, like a broken tooth. We passed it when we started, he said, but the compass showed we'd been moving southeast. Straight line, no turns, no curves, just forward. I checked the GPS. The screen flickered, numbers changing too fast to read, then settled on coordinates. 15 miles southeast of the station, but I could see the station, right there, on the horizon behind us. Same distance as when we started. We'd walked for 2 hours, covered 0 distance, or covered 15 miles in a circle. I tasted bile, sour and sharp. Small footprints appeared ahead, fresh, leading in the direction we were walking. As we watched, more appeared, like invisible feet pressing into snow, making a path, making our path. "They're guiding us," Webb whispered. We changed direction. Northwest. Walked for an hour. The station appeared ahead of us. We tried north. The station appeared. East. The station. West. The station. Every direction. Same result. Like the station was everywhere, or we were nowhere. Reality bent around it. Or around us. I couldn't tell anymore. The footprints multiplied. Dozens, hundreds, all around us, closing in. Not threatening, just present. Just there, always there. Hayes started running. Just broke. Sprinted directly away from the station. We chased him. Watched him disappear over a ridge. Waited. He emerged from behind us, from the opposite direction, disoriented, terrified, crying. "I ran straight," he sobbed. "Straight!" Never turned, never stopped. But somehow he'd circled back. The station was the center. We were the radius. No matter which way we moved, we stayed on the circle. Every path circles back. Every path. We returned to the station. What else could we do? The door was open, waiting. The coffee on the desk was still steaming. We stopped trying to walk. Just stopped. Stood in the snow, staring at nothing. 12 hours we'd walked, total. Different directions, different routes, same result. The station, always the station. My legs burned, my lungs ached from the cold air. I could taste blood in the back of my throat, smell my own sweat mixed with fear. The wind had picked up, cutting through my gear, but I barely felt it. I barely felt anything. The compass was useless, spinning randomly. North, south, east, west. No pattern, no logic. GPS showed impossible coordinates, hundreds of miles away. Then back at the station, then nowhere recognizable. "We're not in normal space anymore," Webb said. He'd been saying it for hours, over and over, like a prayer, like a curse. Reality is bent around this place, around them. Distance doesn't mean anything here. Hayes wouldn't listen, couldn't listen. He just kept moving, pacing, muttering to himself. Then he ran, just sprinted directly away from the station, full speed. We chased him, but he was fast, desperate. He disappeared over a ridge, gone. We waited. 30 minutes, scanning the horizon, calling his name. Nothing. Then he appeared, behind us, stumbling, gasping for air. His face was white, eyes wild. "I ran straight," he gasped. "Never turned, never looked back. I swear to God I ran straight." But he'd circled around. Impossible geometry, space folding on itself. Foster tested it, fired a flare gun, straight up. We watched the arc, normal trajectory, rising, falling. Then it curved, horizontal, impossible. The flare traveled sideways, impacted the ground behind the station. The smoke trail showed the path, a curve that shouldn't exist. Physics breaking down. I stared at that smoke trail, tried to understand. Couldn't. The blurred figures were closer now, visible in daylight. Dozens of them, small humanoid shapes in a perfect circle around us, maintaining exact distance. When we moved, they moved. When we stopped, they stopped. Herding behavior, unmistakable. They weren't chasing us, they were positioning us, moving us like pieces on a board, like pawns in a game we didn't understand, like we'd already lost. I could see them more clearly now. Child-sized bodies, but wrong proportions. Heads too large, limbs too long, movements too fluid, too coordinated. When I looked directly at them, they blurred, faded, but peripheral vision showed them clear. Too clear. I counted them, lost count, counted again. The number kept changing. 40, 50, 30, 60, or was it always the same number, and my mind was breaking? Do not follow. But we'd followed. We'd walked into their territory, into their pattern. Now we couldn't leave.
6 p.m. Back at the station, defeated, exhausted. Webb spread his notebook across the desk. All his sketches, the geometric patterns. Inside the station, outside, in the snow, on the windows. He'd been mapping them for hours, connecting dots, finding relationships. Look, he said. His finger traced lines. The patterns aren't random. They're a map of our movements. I looked closer, my vision blurred, focused. The patterns did show paths, routes, the exact routes we'd walked today. That's impossible, Foster said. We made those patterns before we walked. Or they knew where we'd walk, Webb said. Because every crew walks the same pattern, follows the same script. We're not choosing. We're being guided. The patterns showed it all. Our departure at 0900, the circular routes, even Hayes's run, all mapped out in symbols drawn before we'd moved, before we'd even decided to move. Small footprints covered the compound now, everywhere. Spirals and symbols layering over each other, tightening, the space between each loop getting smaller, closing in on the buildings, on us. New patterns appeared as we watched. Fresh snow compressing, invisible feet pressing down, drawing symbols around our boots, around us. The radio crackled, multiple voices, overlapping, all speaking at once. You followed. Now you join. Now you stay. The circle closes. The words repeated. Different languages, same meaning. Children's voices, adult voices, old voices, new voices, all saying the same thing. Now you stay. The circle closes. Hayes noticed the figures first. His voice came out strangled. They're inside the fence. He was right. The blurred shapes had crossed the perimeter. They stood inside the compound now, 50 meters away, 40, 30, closing distance, moving in synchronized steps, all together, all at once, like a single organism, like they shared one mind. Their movements were hypnotic, rhythmic. I couldn't look away, didn't want to look away. The singing started, that children's melody, beautiful and terrible. It made my head hurt, made my vision blur, made me want to walk toward them, made me want to follow. Do not follow. But I wanted to. God help me, I wanted to.
Darkness fell, fast and complete. We barricaded inside, again. Boards on windows, doors locked. Same routine as last night. Had it only been one night, it felt like weeks, months, years. The figures pressed against every window, all of them, at once, covering the glass completely. Handprints everywhere, multiplying. Small fingers, too many fingers. I counted them, 6, 7, 8, 10. Lost count, started again. The glass frosted over, patterns forming, the same geometric symbols. But moving now, shifting, changing, like they were alive, like they were writing messages. Scratching sounds on the roof, multiple bodies, crawling, coordinated. The trapdoor to the attic rattled, locked from below, but rattling harder, faster, wood splintering, screws loosening. Children's laughter echoed through the ventilation system, high and clear, coming from everywhere, nowhere, inside the walls, inside my head. The radio exploded with sound, dozens of transmissions all at once, voices I recognized, previous supply crews, all saying variations of the same thing. We're still here, still walking. The paths don't end. You'll understand soon. You'll understand soon. You'll understand soon. The voices overlapped, created harmonics, painful frequencies. I covered my ears, but it didn't help. The sound was inside me, inside my skull. Then at 3 a.m., everything stopped. Sudden silence, complete, oppressive. The figures retreated from the windows, faded into darkness, gone. The scratching stopped. The laughter stopped. The radio went silent. Nothing, just our breathing, just our heartbeats, just the generator humming. Foster checked his watch. It's the same pattern as last night. They escalate, then they retreat, like they're conditioning us, preparing us for something, Webb said. The coffee on the desk was still steaming. Still steaming. How long had it been steaming? Days? Weeks? Forever? 7 a.m. Light returned, gray and cold. We'd slept in shifts, sort of. Eyes closed, but minds awake. The singing never really stopped. Just got quieter, became part of the background. Part of the air we breathed. I could taste it now, the singing, sweet and metallic on my tongue. Like copper, like blood. Foster noticed it first. His voice was quiet, careful. Hayes, your shadow. We all looked. Hayes stood near the window, morning light streaming through. His shadow stretched across the floor, but it was moving wrong, stretching in the opposite direction from the light source, moving seconds before Hayes moved, like it was leading. Like Hayes was following. Webb grabbed a flashlight, tested it, shined it on each of us systematically. Military precision. Document everything. Understand nothing. My shadow was too short, half the length it should be. Like part of me was missing, like something had taken it. Foster's shadow was missing its left arm, just gone. Empty space where the arm should be. But Foster's actual arm was there, solid, real. Was it real? Webb's shadow faced backward, away from the light. Impossible physics, impossible geometry, but there it was. Hayes's shadow flickered, like a broken film reel, occasionally showing multiple silhouettes, overlapping. 3 Hayes, 4, 5, all slightly different positions. All slightly wrong. This isn't right, Hayes said. His voice was too high, too tight, panic creeping in. This isn't possible, but it was happening. We were seeing it, all of us, together. Or were we all hallucinating, sharing the same delusion? Foster found the Polaroid camera in the station supplies. Old technology, instant film. He took photos of each of us. The camera clicked. Word. Film developed slowly. The photos showed us, clear, normal, but behind each of us, small, blurred figures, child-sized, standing directly behind, reaching toward our heads, tiny hands extended, almost touching. Almost. I stared at my photo. The figure behind me was clearer than the others. I could almost see features, almost see a face. But when I focused, it blurred. When I looked away, it sharpened. They've been there the whole time, Webb whispered, right behind us. We just couldn't see them. I felt cold then, colder than the air, colder than the snow, a cold that came from inside, from somewhere deep. Something was standing behind me. I could feel it, a presence, weight, pressure, breath on the back of my neck. But when I turned, nothing was there, nothing I could see. The smell hit me, sweet and rotten, stronger now, like it was coming from me, from inside me. I swallowed, tasted copper, tasted fear. 11 a.m. Hayes was different. He'd stopped responding to direct orders, just stared at the walls, at the patterns.
his lips moving constantly, muttering. Words I couldn't quite hear, didn't want to hear. I ordered him to stay inside, posted Webb to watch him. Foster and I went outside, desperate. One more attempt at the truck. One more try to fix something, anything. The engine components were scattered, rearranged, some parts missing entirely. Bolts where there shouldn't be bolts, wires disconnected. The battery was gone, just gone. The compartment was empty, but we'd seen it yesterday, checked it. Dead but present. Now it wasn't there at all. "Where did it go?" Foster asked. I didn't answer. Didn't have an answer. Inside, Webb was watching Hayes draw on the walls, using a marker, geometric patterns, the same symbols from outside, from the snow, from everywhere. Hayes drew them perfectly, no hesitation, no mistakes, like he'd drawn them 1,000 times before, like he knew them by heart. "Hayes," I said, "stop." He didn't stop, didn't even look at me, just kept drawing, his hand moving in smooth arcs, perfect circles, perfect spirals. "They showed me," he said. His voice was calm, too calm, flat, empty. "I understand now. We're not prisoners. We're chosen. They want to help us leave, but we have to go their way, not ours." Webb backed toward the door, his hand on his sidearm. I saw the movement, understood it. Hayes turned, smiled. His smile was wrong, too wide, too many teeth. Or was that just my imagination? "Their way," he repeated. His voice had an echo now, slight delay, words out of sync with his lips, like someone else was speaking through him, using him. "We follow their path. We join the circle. Then we're free." His eyes were different, pupils too large, too dark, reflecting nothing, absorbing everything. "Hayes," I said carefully, "come with us. We need to talk." "I'm done talking." He turned back to the wall, started drawing again. "They're teaching me the old language, the true language, the language of the territory." His shadow on the wall split, became 2 shadows, 3, 4, all moving independently, all drawing different patterns. I felt my stomach turn, tasted bile. Webb grabbed my arm. "We need to leave, now." But I couldn't move, couldn't look away from Hayes, from his shadows, from the patterns multiplying across the wall. 2 p.m. I stepped outside for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, to clear my head, to breathe air that didn't smell like rot. When I returned, Hayes was gone. The room was empty, door still locked from the inside, window still barred. No explanation, no sound, just gone. Webb was staring at the floor, at boot prints, leading from where Hayes had been standing to the rear door, the door that had been sealed, boarded, locked. But the boards were intact, the lock engaged. The door hadn't opened. We followed the prints anyway, outside, into the snow. The tracks ran straight toward the tree line, 50 meters, clear and deep. Then they stopped, just stopped, mid-stride, like Hayes had been erased, deleted from reality. At the terminus point, Hayes's other boot, his torn jacket, blood spots in the snow, drag marks leading further, small handprints pressed into the fabric, child-sized, dozens of them, like tiny hands had pulled him, carried him, taken him. The drag marks ran another 20 meters, then vanished, snow smooth, undisturbed. We searched, called his name, followed every direction. Nothing. 10 minutes later, we returned to check the terminus point, document the evidence, take photos. Everything was gone. Boot, jacket, blood, drag marks, all of it. The snow was pristine, perfect, like nothing had ever been there. like Hayes had never existed. His radio crackled on my belt. His voice came through, clear, close. "I'm still walking. I can see the station. Why can't I reach you?" I grabbed the radio. "Hayes, where are you?" Static. Then his voice again. Same words, same tone. Recording on a loop. "I'm still walking. I can see the station. Why can't I reach you?" Over and over. Forever.
We retreated to the station in shock. Number. Hayes was gone, erased, no body. No proof he'd ever been here, except our memories. And memories weren't reliable anymore. Foster tried to triangulate Hayes's radio signal. The equipment showed the source was inside the operations building, right where we were standing. But Hayes wasn't there. His voice came from everywhere, nowhere. "I'm still walking. I can see the station. Why can't I reach you?" I made the decision then. Focus on survival. We couldn't help Hayes, couldn't find him, couldn't bring him back. We had to think about ourselves now. Stay together, stay alive, wait for rescue, if rescue was coming, if anyone remembered we existed. Webb disagreed. His face was pale, hands shaking. "We're doing exactly what they want, what every crew does. We're following the script, the pattern. Can't you see?" "Then what do we do?" I asked. He didn't answer, didn't have an answer. 6 p.m. Darkness fell. The figures returned, closer than before, inside the compound fence, moving in a tightening spiral around the operations building. I counted them, stopped counting. Too many, or not enough. The numbers made no sense anymore. Foster found Hayes's notebook, left behind on the desk. I didn't remember seeing it before, but there it was, open, waiting. The final entries described voices, teaching him, showing him, the old language, the language between spaces. They can show the path where distance doesn't exist, where time doesn't matter, where we can walk forever and never move, where we can move and never walk. The words spiraled across pages, handwriting deteriorating, letters bleeding together, symbols mixed with English, patterns mixed with words. The last page was a drawing, a map, geometric patterns overlapping. At the center, the station. Around it, concentric circles, paths leading in, no paths leading out. Every path circles back. I smelled tobacco again, sweet and old. Paul's tobacco. But Paul wasn't here, couldn't be here. Could he? I tasted copper, blood, but my mouth wasn't bleeding. Was it? 9 p.m. The whispers started, not subtle anymore, not at the edge of hearing, loud, clear, penetrating the walls from every direction. Children's voices, adult voices, old voices, all speaking at once, overlapping, creating harmonics that hurt my teeth, made my eyes water. The words were in languages I didn't know, but somehow understood. Ancient dialect, modern English, something in between, something older than language itself. You followed the wrong path. You came when called. The grudge remembers. You are human. You pay the debt. Over and over. Different variations, same meaning. You pay the debt. Webb translated intermittently, his voice shaking. They're referencing the old story, the dog that devoured their child, hundreds of years ago. They hold all humans accountable, all of us, forever. That doesn't make sense, Foster said. We didn't do anything. It doesn't matter. We're human. That's enough. The whispers got louder, more insistent, personal now, directed at each of us individually. I heard my name,
in my grandmother's voice. She'd been dead for 15 years, but there was her voice, clear, real, speaking from directly behind me. James, they know you understand. They chose you to witness. You will carry the story. You will remember. You will come back. You always come back. I spun around. Nothing there. Just wall. Just shadows. But I felt breath on my face. Warm. Sweet. Rotten. Foster heard his daughter. I saw his face change. Go pale. His daughter was alive. Safe. At base. 7 years old. But her voice came through the walls. Crying. Calling for him. Daddy, I'm lost. I can't find you. It's so cold. Please come get me. Foster moved toward the sound. I grabbed him, held him back. It's not her, I said. It's them. They're mimicking, manipulating. But his daughter's voice got louder, more desperate, more real. Daddy, please. They're here. The small ones. They're all around me. Help me. Help me. Help me. Tears ran down Foster's face. He struggled against my grip, strong, desperate, but I held on. Webb heard something too, his mother, speaking in Athabascan, the old dialect, words I couldn't understand but felt in my bones. The voices were perfectly mimicked, emotionally precise. They knew exactly what would hurt us most, what would make us separate, make us vulnerable, make us follow. Do not follow, but God, I wanted to go to my grandmother, wanted to believe she was really there, really speaking to me. One more time, the taste in my mouth turned bitter, acidic, like poison, like truth. The assault intensified, every window covered, figures pressed against glass, handprints multiplying exponentially, thousands, millions, covering every surface. The frost formed words, ancient dialect. Webb translated as fast as he could. Come out, walk the path, join the circle, become part of the territory, become part of us, become us. The words repeated, layered, created patterns, hypnotic, dizzying. Scratching sounds erupted on the roof, multiple bodies, dozens, hundreds, crawling, moving in coordinated waves. The attic trapdoor rattled, wood splintering, metal bending. The lock wouldn't hold much longer. I could hear children's laughter, high and clear, echoing through the ventilation system, coming from inside the walls, inside the floor, inside everything. The radio exploded with sound. All previous supply crews, all speaking simultaneously, overlapping, creating a wall of noise, of voices, of warnings, of welcomes. We're still here, still walking. The paths don't end. You'll join us soon. You'll understand. You'll become. You'll forget. You'll remember. You'll be part of the circle. Forever. 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 Then at 3 a.m., silence. Complete. Sudden. Absolute. The figures retreated from the windows, disappeared into darkness. The scratching stopped. The laughter stopped. The radio went silent. Nothing. Just our breathing. Ragged. Desperate. They're conditioning us, Foster said. His voice was dead. Hollow. Building us up, breaking us down, getting us ready. For what? I asked. For whatever comes next. Webb stared at the patterns on the windows, the words in frost, his lips moving, reading, understanding. They're hurting us, he said quietly. Always have been, since we arrived. Every action, every choice, we think we're deciding. But we're following their path, walking their circle. The coffee on the desk was still steaming. How long? How long had we been here? Days? Weeks? Months? Years? I couldn't remember arriving anymore. Couldn't remember life before this station, before the singing, before the patterns. Had there been a before? They don't forget, and neither do we. We just remember wrong.
6 a.m. Foster was different. He'd been up all night, studying maps, old geological surveys, documentation we'd found in storage. His eyes were too bright, too focused, manic. "I found it," he said. His voice was excited, triumphant. "A solution, a way out." He spread the maps across the desk, pointed to a line, faint, barely visible. "Old mining road, 2 miles east, leads to the highway. It's not on our military maps, not marked, not documented. They don't know about it." He meant the figures, the Anulaga rock. Like they had limited knowledge, limited control. If they only control the paths they've laid out, then unmapped routes might be free, might work. I was skeptical. We'd tried everything, every direction, every path. All led back. Any path could be compromised, but we don't know that. We're assuming. We're giving up before we try. Webb sided with Foster. His face was gaunt, eyes sunken. Staying guarantees the same fate. We become like Hayes, like the previous crews. We have to try something different. I was outvoted, 2-1. "We leave at 9 a.m., I said. "Full light, pack minimal, move fast." Foster drew the route, detailed, precise, confident, almost too confident. His hand was steady, sure, like he'd drawn this map before, like he knew it by heart. As we prepared, I noticed Foster's shadow again, still missing the left arm, but now it was reaching, extending toward Foster's actual arm, like it wanted to take it, like it was hungry. I said nothing. What could I say? The smell was everywhere now. Sweet rot. It came from the walls, the floor, the air itself, or from us, from inside us. I couldn't tell anymore. My mouth tasted like copper and ash. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I clenched them into fists, felt my nails dig into palms. Pain, real pain, proof I was still here, still real, still human. Was I still human? 9 a.m. We left through the front door, armed, ready, desperate. The sky was overcast, gray clouds pressing down. The air smelled like snow, like ozone, like something burning far away. Foster led, confident, following his mental map, east toward the unmapped mining road. Reeves followed close. Webb took rear guard, documenting everything, taking photos, writing notes, evidence, proof, testament. For who? For what? I didn't know anymore. 15 minutes out, the footprints appeared, small, child-sized, fresh in the snow, leading exactly where we were walking, our direction, our path. "Coincidence," Foster said, but his voice wavered, uncertain. He kept moving. We followed. What else could we do? The prints multiplied, dozens of parallel tracks, all converging on our destination, like a river flowing toward the sea, like destiny, like a trap. We reached the coordinates, the place where the mining road should be, according to the map, according to the geological survey, according to Foster's hope. Nothing, no road, no trace. Terrain completely undisturbed, trees growing where the road should be. Old trees, decades old, centuries old. Foster checked the GPS. This is it. This is the exact location. But there was nothing. The road had never existed, or had been erased, or never would exist. Time was wrong here. Space was wrong. Reality was negotiable. Foster realized something then. His face went white. He pulled out the map, stared at it. This was in the station supplies.
he said slowly. I found it there. It was waiting for me, planted, false hope, designed to lure us out. Exactly as planned. The figures appeared, all around us, closing the circle. 50+ entities, small humanoid shapes, clearer now in daylight, oversized heads, elongated limbs, movements synchronized, fluid. Wrong. They moved when we moved, stopped when we stopped, herding us, driving us northwest, away from the station, away from base, towards something. Toward what? I fired my weapon, 3 rounds into the snow near the closest figure. Warning shots. No reaction. The figures didn't flee, didn't attack, just stood. Patient, immovable, creating living barriers. They weren't afraid of us, weren't threatened. They were guiding us, had always been guiding us, since before we arrived, since before we were born. Do not follow. But we'd already followed. We were still following. We'd always be following. Every path circles back. But back to what?
Foster stopped suddenly, stared at his hands. Small handprints appeared on his jacket sleeves, pressed from inside the fabric. Tiny fingers pushing through the material, emerging, multiplying. The prints covered his torso rapidly, child-sized hands gripping, pulling from impossible angles, from inside his clothes, from inside him. He backed away from us, eyes wide, terrified. They're inside my coat. I can feel them. Cold, so cold. Blood seeped from his nose, his ears, his eyes. Not flowing, just appearing, manifesting, staining the snow beneath him. Foster? I moved toward him. He turned, walked deliberately toward the nearest figure, like he had no choice, like strings pulled him, like he was dancing to music only he could hear. I grabbed him, pulled back, but his strength multiplied, impossible strength. He threw me aside, effortless, continued walking. His voice echoed, delayed, out of sync. The path is clear now. I can see it. Between the spaces, between the moments, where we've always been, where we'll always be. He walked into the tree line, blood trailing behind him. The figures surrounded him, swarmed, obscured him completely. Webb and I stood frozen, watching, unable to move, unable to help. When the figures dispersed, Foster was gone. Only the blood trail remained, leading into the trees, leading nowhere. We followed, had to follow. The trail ran 20 meters, then vanished. Snow pristine, undisturbed. We returned to the spot minutes later, to document, to photograph, to prove. Everything was gone. Blood, trail, evidence, all of it. Like Foster had never been there, never been real, never been human. His radio crackled on my belt, his voice, clear, close, eternal. I'm still walking. The path goes on forever. I can see you both. Why can't you see me? Over and over, joining haze, joining all the others. Voices in the static. Forever. Webb and I stood where Foster had disappeared. 12 p.m. Alone. 2 out of 4. The math was simple, brutal, clear. We were next. Foster's radio continued transmitting, his voice layered with hazes, both speaking, both lost, both walking forever in spaces we couldn't see. I'm still walking. The path goes on forever. I can see you both. Why can't you see me? The signal was strong, close. Foster should be right next to us, but he wasn't. He was nowhere, everywhere, scattered across dimensions we couldn't perceive. I made a decision. We stay together, absolutely. No matter what we heard, what we saw, what called to us. We don't separate, ever. Webb agreed. His face was hollow, eyes sunken. He looked like he'd aged years in days. Maybe he had. Maybe we all had. Time was meaningless here. The figures maintained their perimeter, 20 meters distance, perfect circle around us. When we moved, they moved. When we stopped, they stopped. Herding behavior, undeniable. They were clearer now, incrementally, hour by hour. I could see their proportions. Child-sized bodies, but wrong. Heads too large, smooth, featureless. Limbs too long, joints bending at wrong angles. Their movements were fluid, coordinated, like they were swimming through air, like gravity meant nothing to them. When I looked directly at them, they blurred, faded, but peripheral vision showed them crystal clear, too clear, more real than reality. I counted them, lost count, counted again, 40, 30, 60, 50. The number fluctuated. Impossible. Or was my mind breaking, fragmenting, unable to process what it was seeing? Webb pulled out his notebook, flipped through pages. His sketches, the geometric patterns, all our movements over the past days, mapped perfectly. We've been walking predetermined paths, he said. His voice was flat, dead, unconsciously following invisible markers. The station was never a prison. It was a nexus point. All paths lead there. All paths lead away. But they're the same path, the same circle. He showed me the patterns. They matched our footprints exactly. From days ago, from yesterday, from today. All the same, all predetermined. We'd never had free will here. We'd been dancing to their tune since we arrived, since before we arrived, since always. I could smell rot, constant now, part of the air itself, part of me. I breathed it in, breathed it out. It was becoming normal, familiar, home. That terrified me more than anything. I tasted ash, copper. My own fear crystallized into flavor, into substance. My hands were steady now, too steady, unnaturally calm, like my body had accepted what my mind refused. We were going to die here, or worse, we were going to join the others, join the voices, walk forever, see everything, reach nothing. Every path circles back. The figures moved, active herding now, approaching from south and east, forcing Webb and me to move northwest. Every attempt to change direction met with figures blocking the path, not threatening, not violent, just there, immovable as mountains. We walked for hours, exhaustion setting in, legs burning, lungs aching, but the figures maintained pressure, patient, methodical, inevitable. I fired my weapon, not at them, just into the ground. Desperation, rage, futility. The bullets impacted snow. The figures didn't react, didn't flee, didn't attack, just stood, watched, waited. They had all the time in the world. More than time. They existed outside time, before time, after time. We were insects to them. Mayflies, here for a moment, gone the next. They were eternal, patient, certain. 1,800 hours, darkness falling. We'd been herded in a massive spiral, clockwise, miles in diameter. Webb mapped it as we walked. The pattern was perfect, mathematical, precise. At the center, a structure, old, predating the military presence, abandoned hunting cabin, logs weathered gray, roof sagging, windows dark, empty, not on any maps we carried,
shouldn't exist here. But there it was, waiting. The figures stopped advancing, held their perimeter 50 meters from the cabin. Perfect circle, perfect distance, perfect patience. The whispers intensified. Children's voices, ancient voices, all saying the same thing. Enter the center, complete the pattern, join the territory. The circle closes, the circle closes, the circle closes. The cabin door hung open, darkness inside, absolute, complete, but I could hear singing, faint, children's melody, that same haunting tune we'd heard for days, coming from inside, from below, from everywhere. The smell coming from the cabin made my eyes water. Sweet rot, decay, death, and something else, something alive, something waiting. My stomach turned. I tasted bile, swallowed it down. It tasted like copper, like blood, like truth. They want us to go in, Webb said. I know. What do we do? I didn't answer, didn't know. Every option led to the same place, into the cabin, into the darkness, into the circle. Every path circles back, but maybe we could break the pattern, refuse, resist, choose nothing instead of something. Maybe that was the answer, or maybe there was no answer. Maybe there never had been. We sat in the snow, between the cabin and the figures, neither advancing nor retreating, refusing to play their game, refusing to complete their pattern. They need our cooperation, Webb said. His breath came out in white clouds. They can manipulate, but not force. That's why all the psychological tactics, all the herding, all the conditioning, they need us to choose, to walk in willingly. I thought about it, about Hayes, about Foster. Both had walked toward the figures. Both had chosen, consciously or unconsciously. So we don't choose, I said. We don't choose. We sat through the night. The figures maintained their perimeter. Whispers continued. Temperature dropped brutally. My body went numb. I couldn't feel my fingers, my toes, parts of me disappearing into the cold. But we didn't move, didn't enter the cabin, didn't follow, do not follow. Finally, after all this time, we listened. Webb took shifts sleeping, backs pressed together for warmth, for security, for human contact, proof we were still real, still here, still us. My shadow on the snow showed additional figures, standing over me, behind me, around me, but my physical count remained the same, just Webb and me, just us against everything. 4 a.m., the figures retreated, suddenly, completely, dissolved into the pre-dawn darkness. The whispers stopped, the singing stopped, everything stopped. Silence, pure, clean, real. They always retreat before dawn, Webb said. His voice was hoarse, damaged from the cold. They're stronger during daylight, when they can manipulate space. Night limits them to psychological warfare, so we move now. Pre-dawn, break the spiral, try to reach base using stars instead of compass. We ran. Northwest, away from the cabin, away from the patterns, away from the circle, using starlight for navigation. Polaris, Orion, Cassiopeia, ancient markers, older than the Inula Garak, older than their territory, older than their grudge, maybe old enough to be free of their influence. Maybe. We ran. And for the first time in days I felt hope. Small, fragile, but real. Behind us the cabin door slammed shut. The sound echoed, lasted too long, like thunder, like rage, like promise. We kept running. They don't forget. Neither do we. We ran for hours in darkness, following the North Star, avoiding all paths, all tracks, all markers.
making our own way through virgin snow, through wilderness that might be real, might be free, might be another trick. No figures visible behind us, no sense of pursuit, no whispers, no singing, just silence, and our ragged breathing and the crunch of snow under our boots. The landscape gradually became familiar, terrain matching our maps, mountains in correct positions, trees thinning, tundra opening up. Real. This felt real. 8 a.m. The base appeared on horizon. Solid. Clear. Buildings. Fence. Radar towers. Guard posts. Home. We increased pace, energy returning with hope, with possibility, with the promise of safety, of warmth, of sanity. But something was wrong. I felt it before I understood it. A wrongness in the air, a taste, a smell. Our shadows on the snow still behaved incorrectly. Multiple silhouettes trailing each of us. Small figures walking in our footsteps. Behind us, with us, part of us. They were still there, still following, still patient. We approached the base perimeter. 100 meters. 50 meters. 20. Guards visible at the gate. 2 of them. Familiar uniforms. Familiar faces. I waved, shouted, my voice cracking from exhaustion and cold. They didn't react, didn't acknowledge us. Just stood, staring forward, unmoving, like statues, like props, like illusions. We got within 10 meters. I could see their faces clearly now, recognized their features. Jenkins, Morrison, men I'd served with for 2 years. But they weren't real. They were fading, becoming translucent, see-through. I could see the landscape behind them, through them. The base itself started fading, buildings becoming transparent, fence dissolving, reality peeling away like old paint. I checked the GPS, correct coordinates, right location, but nothing physical was present. Just empty tundra, just wilderness, just nothing. It's not real, Webb whispered. We're still trapped, still in their space, in their territory. The base vanished completely, replaced by snow and rocks and endless gray sky, like it had never been there, like it would never be there, like it was just another pattern, another path, another circle. Every path circles back. I fell to my knees, exhaustion overwhelming me, despair crushing down. We'd failed. Again. Just like every crew before us. Just like every crew that would come after. There was no escape. There never had been. We were just acting out a script written long ago by entities older than nations, older than civilization, older than humanity itself. Webb pulled me up. We keep moving. We don't stop. We wear them down. We break through. How? I don't know, but we don't give up. That's how they win, when we accept it, when we surrender. So we walked, 3 more days, days that felt like years. Landscape repeating, base appearing and vanishing at intervals. Each time more convincing, each time more cruel. Food ran out, water ran out. We ate snow, tasted nothing, felt nothing, became nothing. But we kept walking. Day 7, by our count. Though counting meant nothing here, time was fluid, negotiable, meaningless. We stumbled, fell, got up, fell again, bodies shutting down, minds fracturing, but still moving, still refusing, still fighting. The figures never closed distance, never attacked, just maintained their presence, their pressure, their certainty, waiting for us to break, to give in, to complete the pattern. But we wouldn't, couldn't. The only choice we had left was refusal, and we chose it, over and over, forever. Then suddenly, the base solidified, didn't fade, stayed real, solid, concrete. Guards saw us, responded with alarm, radios crackled, people moved. Real people, real reactions. We'd broken through, somehow, some way, by sheer stubborn refusal and blind luck, and maybe mercy from entities that knew no mercy. Or maybe they'd just gotten bored, let us go. This time, extraction team surrounded us. Questions, medical checks, blankets, water, heat, reality crashing back in overwhelming waves. I collapsed. Webb collapsed beside me. Both of us crying, shaking, laughing, not sure what we felt anymore. Not sure we felt anything. We were out. We were free. We were home. But the shadows on the ground still showed extra figures, still moved wrong, still reflected truths our eyes couldn't see. They don't forget. And they'd marked us, branded us, claimed us. We'd walked in their territory, breathed their air, become part of their pattern. We could leave, but we'd never truly escape. Part of us would always be there, in the station, in the circle, walking forever, following the path that never ends. Medical bay, lights too bright, air too warm, everything too real, too solid, too normal. I couldn't trust it, couldn't believe it. This could be another illusion, another layer, another trick. Maybe we'd never left. Maybe we were still there, still walking, still trapped. And this was just a dream within the nightmare, a false escape to make the real trap more cruel. I couldn't tell anymore, couldn't distinguish real from pattern, truth from territory, self from circle. Maybe that was the point. Maybe that was how they won, not by taking us, but by making us question everything, forever, making reality itself unreliable, making existence a maze with no exit. Every path circles back, even the ones that lead home. Medical examination showed impossible results. Weeks of exposure damage, frostbite, malnutrition, dehydration, muscle deterioration, equipment wear suggesting months of use. But official timelines showed 5 days. 5 days missing. 5 days that felt like eternity. Command debriefing. Major Henderson, professional, skeptical, sympathetic, but ultimately unconvinced. No record of Station Zebra 7. No satellite imagery showing structures at reported coordinates. No radar installation. No previous supply crews. No Hayes. No Foster. Just empty tundra. Just wilderness. Just nothing. Supply Convoy Delta departed base at 6 a.m. on the 15th. Returned 0900 hours on the 20th. 5 days. No logged destination. No official mission parameters. I showed him the photos, the patterns, Webb's notebook, the evidence we'd collected. Henderson looked, frowned, remained unconvinced. Exposure-induced shared delusion, trauma response. Hypothermia can cause vivid hallucinations, especially over multiple days. You both experienced the same environmental stressors, same psychological conditions. Shared trauma creates shared delusions. He placed us on administrative leave, separated us to different bases, standard protocol, psychological evaluation pending, return to duty uncertain. Hayes and Foster listed as AWOL, not missing, not dead, just absent without authorization. Separate incidents, no connection, no pattern. The official story was clean, simple, rational, explained everything without explaining anything. I knew the truth. Webb knew the truth, but truth was negotiable. Reality was majority vote, and we were the minority. 3 weeks later, different base, hundreds of miles from Alaska, from the station, from the territory. But distance meant nothing. Territory had no borders. The circle had no edges. I woke up, 3 a.m., cold sweat, heart racing, the singing still in my ears, that children's melody, forever and ever. My shadow on the wall moved wrong, facing incorrect angle, moving before I moved, showing figures standing behind me, around me, inside me. I turned, quick. Nothing physical, just wall, just room, just empty space. But I felt them, breath on my neck, cold, sweet, rotten. Pressure, weight, presence, whispers at edge of hearing, ancient dialect, modern English, all languages, no language. You left. You walked away, but territory remembers. The grudge follows. You are marked now. Inulagarak, don't forget. I went to the window, looked out. Snow covering the ground outside. Fresh, clean, beautiful. Small footprints appeared. Fresh, real. Geometric patterns forming. Tightening spirals. Leading to my building, to my window, to me. They'd followed me here, across hundreds of miles, across reality itself, because distance was meaningless, because territory was everywhere, because the circle had no edges. Every path circles back. I was part of their pattern now, forever. Walking the circle, even when standing still, even when awake, even when believing I'd escaped. There was no escape. There never had been. The territory was infinite, the grudge eternal, the pattern absolute. I closed my eyes, heard the singing, felt the cold, tasted copper. They don't forget. Neither do I. And neither will you.
Day 7. By their count, by mine. Time was meaningless, but we counted anyway. Needed numbers, needed order, needed proof we were still human, still capable of measuring, of understanding, of existing in linear progression. Webb and I continued northwest, following stars at night, moving constantly, never stopping. Because stopping meant thinking, and thinking meant breaking. We saw the base multiple times, each appearance lasting longer, becoming more solid, guards more responsive before the fade, the illusion improving, learning, adapting. "We're wearing it down," Webb said. His voice was barely there, damaged from the cold and the singing and the screaming we'd done when we thought no one could hear. But they always heard. Always. Breaking through the distortion. The dimensional barrier. It has limits. We're approaching the boundary. I wanted to believe him. Wanted to trust that persistence mattered. That human stubbornness could overcome ancient power. That will was enough. But I'd learned better. Will meant nothing here. Choice was illusion. We were still following their pattern, just a different branch, a longer route, but ending the same way. Every path circles back. Final approach, 2 p.m. The base solidified, didn't fade this time, stayed real. Guards saw us, responded immediately. Called for medical, moved toward us with urgency and concern, and reality. Real. This was real. Had to be real. Please be real. We stumbled through the gate, collapsed, arms around us, voices, questions, warmth, safety, home. But my shadows still showed figures, still moved wrong, still reflected truths that reality denied. They'd let us go, but they hadn't released us. We were marked, branded, part of their territory forever, connected by invisible threads the distance couldn't break, that reality couldn't sever. We'd escaped, but we'd never be free. The coffee was no longer steaming, finally.
Medical bay, white walls, clean sheets, antiseptic smell, everything normal, everything wrong. Both of us severely dehydrated, malnourished, frostbite damage to fingers and toes, psychological trauma evident, but alive, conscious, responsive. Official timeline, 5 days missing, but our bodies told different stories. Weeks of exposure, months of wear. Time had moved differently for us, inside us, through us. Major Henderson interviewed us separately. Standard protocol, check for story consistency, identify shared delusion, understand what broke. I told him everything. Station Zebra 7, the Anulaga Rock, the patterns, the singing, Hayes Foster, the cabin, the circle, the territory, everything. He listened, took notes, remained professional, then delivered his verdict. No record of Station Zebra 7 exists in any database. Satellite imagery of the reported coordinates shows undisturbed wilderness. No structures, no previous crews, no installation. I showed him the evidence, photos, Webb's notebook, the footprints, the patterns, the geometric symbols. Proof. He examined them carefully, respectfully, then explained. These could be natural formations, snowdrifts, shadows, environmental patterns. Under extreme stress, the mind seeks meaning, creates narratives, makes sense from chaos. What about Hayes and Foster? Listed as AWOL. They left base unauthorized. Separate incidents. We're investigating, but no evidence connects their absence to your experience. Separate incidents. No connection. No pattern. Clean. Simple. Rational. The official explanation protected sanity, protected command, protected everyone except us. We were placed on administrative leave, separated, sent to different bases. Standard psychological evaluation protocol. Prevent reinforcement of shared trauma response. Allow recovery in isolation. Isolation, like that would help. Like separation would break the connection. Like distance mattered in territory that had no borders. Medical anomalies were documented but not explained. Impossible hair and nail growth. Equipment aging. Physical damage inconsistent with 5 days. All noted, all filed, all ignored, because acknowledging the impossibility meant accepting the reality, and reality was too terrible to accept. Better to label it delusion, trauma, hallucination, anything but truth. I understood. I would have done the same, protected the same way, denied the same reality, but I knew. Webb knew. Hayes knew. Foster knew. Every previous crew knew. And knowing changed nothing, because knowing didn't matter when pattern was absolute, when territory was infinite, when grudge was eternal. They don't forget. And now neither could we.
3 weeks later, different base, different state, different reality. But same shadows, same whispers, same presence. I was alone in my quarters, 2 a.m., Couldn't sleep. Never really slept anymore. Just closed my eyes and heard singing. Saw patterns. Felt cold. My shadow on the wall still behaved wrong, facing incorrect angle, moving fractionally before I moved, leading instead of following. I caught my reflection in the mirror, movement behind me, small blurred figure standing directly behind, child-sized hands reaching toward my head, almost touching, almost there. I turned quickly. Nothing physical, just empty room, just wall, just absence. But I felt breath on my face, warm, sweet, rotten. The same smell from the station, from the territory, from them. You left. You walked away. But territory remembers. The grudge follows. You are marked now. Ircenrraat. Don't forget. The words weren't spoken, weren't heard, just known, understood, felt in bones and blood and soul. Somewhere hundreds of miles away, Webb experienced the same thing. Same shadows, same whispers, same presence. Connected across distance, bound by pattern, marked by territory. I went to the window. Snow outside, fresh and clean, beautiful in morning light. Small footprints appeared as I watched, fresh, deliberate, forming geometric patterns around the building, tightening spirals, leading to my window, to me. They'd followed me here, across states, across realities, because distance was meaningless, because territory was everywhere, because the circle had no edges and every path circles back, and they don't forget, and neither do we, and neither will you. The singing started again. Children's voices, high and clear and eternal. And I knew with absolute certainty that it would never stop, that I would hear it forever, walking or sleeping or dying or whatever came after. Because I was part of the pattern now, part of the territory, part of the circle. We all were. We all are. We all will be. Every path circles back, even the ones that lead away, even the ones that lead to you. They don't forget.